Flower power, man. Flower power, man. Flower power. At this point, y'all know what it is, but let's go ahead and do it for the formality. We are going to figure out how Girlypop each and every grass type Pokemon in the Pokemon universe is. I'm talking about Mega Evolutions, Gigantamax, Paradox, this, that, and the other. We're talking about every single one of them. I know that a lot of you guys are coming back, but let's go ahead and touch base for the girls that are new. Hi, welcome. Our top tier is going to be Mother. These are Pokemon that are definitely Girlypop, but they're going an extra level, really representing their type and what that type gives when we're thinking of them in a Girlypop context. The second tier is going to be Girlypop. If you don't know what Girlypop is, just stick around. If you've clicked on this video, you're vibing with our wavelength, you're gonna learn our language, and then you're gonna speak our language, and then it's all gonna make sense. It's all gonna fall together. Trust me, there's a latent potential within you, and we're trying to tap into it. The third tier is okay, this is a Pokemon that could go either way. These Pokemon, after we've done these videos for a certain amount of time, we're realizing that a lot of okay Pokemon have versatility, and that's not to discount their potential or their abilities or what they can contribute. These Pokemon are not necessarily in the spotlight of Girlypop. However, they can complement it well and even could enhance a Girlypop aesthetic. The next tier is looks around. This is like your friend who is kind of like being a little bit strange, but we're trying to give them space. It's like, okay, you could be Girlypop, but I can't really tell, do you want to be? And then last we have Skip. Like, this is just like not even in consideration. Skip, next chapter. Starting off with the icon, that is Bulbasaur. I'm gonna say that Bulbasaur is Girlypop as well as Ivysaur. However, when we get to Venusaur, it starts getting a little bit weird. I'm gonna say Venusaur is okay, because I try to tap into like a more psychic energy when I'm doing these rankings. I can feel the comments being said. Like when I say to myself in my brain, like this is all happening really fast because you guys know that I yap. When I say it in my brain, okay, this Pokemon is going to be looks around, I can immediately anticipate a bunch of comments, and that alone gives me hesitation in putting it in that space. I feel like there's some cottagecore girlies that really love the presence of like this big sort of dinosaur leafy thing. I think you guys can agree that's not Girlypop, but I can see the potential. I think that Mega Venusaur sort of stays in that same lane. I really respect the fact that Mega Venusaur said, okay, I need a fascinator and I need to make the flower a little bit bigger and taller because we are in a new generation and I want to keep up. And that means that it's okay. Like, you know, and looks around, it's like you're not really giving Girlypop even though you could. Venusaur is still trying. And Gigantamax, I want to say that Gigantamax, if I could put it in between Girlypop and okay, I would, but I'm gonna put it in okay. Now, Oddish. Oddish is Girlypop. Gloom got a little bit weird. Like, I kind of appreciate the fact that she was giving us an aesthetic that was, I mean, considering the fact that it's a Generation 1 Pokemon as well, it's like, okay, you're trying to give us like something interesting, something new. And I feel like when we all caught Oddish and were able to explore its evolution tree, immediately the grass type was like Girlypop. Like we could all tell that the grass type was a Girlypop typing because Gloom was already trying to give us theater. I'm gonna say that that's Girlypop. Vileplume, I don't know what it is. It's the fact that like since Generation 1 she's been like, you know, like she's always like, let me get my bang. You know, like that's the Vileplume look. Give her some glasses and suddenly she's off as Siren. You get what I'm saying? That's Mother. And then Bellossom, where's she at? I know she's somewhere in here. See, Bellossom's being shy because every time that she does show up, the spotlight just can't stop being on her. And like, she's a really demure type of girl. And sometimes it's a little bit overwhelming for her. But today, right now, Bellossom, you've got to sit in Mother. Thank you. Thank you. Now, Paris. There's contention within myself. And automatically within this video, I can feel it already. It's like we like it, right? But it's feeling looks around. Because it has all of the makings of Girlypop, but why is it always so weird? Like, why are you being so weird? And like, we like weird, but you're like being a type of weird that's like not Girlypop. That looks around for me. Same with Parasect, because you just like lean even further into it. It's like, okay, I don't really get the concept. Any Parasect fans that might have a certain feeling about this placement, I always welcome space for people to open up my mind, because Girlypop can't exist in a vacuum. I know that it seems like I'm the vacuum, but I can't keep these thoughts in my head by myself anymore. Not anymore. So please leave a comment and weigh in. Bellsprout, I just feel like Chapel Roan would definitely run the entire Bellsprout line. So that's Girlypop. And Victory Bell, it's Girlypop. It's just like the representation in the anime. She literally is just screaming at the top of her lungs. Like, I don't get it. Like, that's just so camp. And I've got to say it now. I didn't want to open the video saying like, this whole typing is Girlypop, but let's be real. I know that a lot of people credit the water typing for being really Girlypop, but y'all see what we're about to discuss. We really got to split hairs here. We really got to split hairs here because even Voltorb, that isn't even like that Girlypop, is still giving you something so unique. When we got the Hisuian form of it, it was like, okay, that's cool. I'm definitely into that. So looks around. I can't give it okay because it's not being as iconic as Venusaur. And if we're going to be putting Venusaur in okay, let's be real, it's going to be tough to be even in okay. Like, Victory Bell literally had to scream at the top of her lungs to be even considered Girlypop. Now, Exeggcute. That's going to be my first skip. Honestly, they remind me of like a bunch of bald-headed middle school boys who don't wash their hands. And if you're a middle school boy watching this, I know that some middle school boys wash their hands, but like there's some that don't. And they quite literally like give me a sort of trauma response. Now, Exeggutor, that's also a skip for me. It just sort of iterates in a way that I don't like. However, the Alolan form, finally she found her lighting. Finally, she found her look. Finally, she found her like wing. You know how like every girl who does like a wing liner, we always have that journey of like trying to find it. And we give space for that journey. We were giving space for Exeggutor. That's okay. That's okay. It's fun. Automatically, when you add an Exeggutor to your team, you're creating a setting because it's so tall that all of your other Pokemon are going to immediately have contrast next to it. And that's just a great accessory for a Grass Type Girlypop team. Now, Tangela almost hit the mark on Spooky Pop and like for the spooky girlies. And now that I'm talking about it, I feel like Tangela's line could have potential to have like a sort of ghost typing regional or maybe even a mega evolution because it is like kind of like freaky. It's like hiding in these vines. Now, I do want to say Tangela, I want to say Tangela's Girlypop. I've always caught a Tangela. I've always been excited to get Tangelas. I think that they're so fun. However, Tangrowth goes into a direction that I just don't really appreciate. That looks around. I don't know. I don't know. I don't really resonate. Chikorita. Y'all have forgotten about Chikorita. I think that the millennials got a little bit too busy and they got off the internet and started going to their jobs. But let's be real. We need y'all to come back and start representing your girl because I feel like I'm the only one out here and I don't care. I don't care what y'all have to say. Chikorita has always been mother. Now, Bailey, really weird middle evolution. And as I've been doing these tier lists, I'm starting to realize that the middle evolutions, when we're trying to like analyze how much they serve, sometimes they are giving awkward teenager. And that's fine. Like, we've all had an awkward teenage phase. I feel like I'm still in it and I'm almost 30 years old. So, like, I can definitely identify with it, but I'm trying to be objective. That's a skip. I don't think Bayleaf is a good looking Pokemon. However, Meganium, mother. My favorite Pokemon of all time is Shiny Jumpluff. That's my top one. Shiny Jumpluff. And because of that, I feel like I might be a little bit biased. Hoppip, Girlypop. Skiploom, Girlypop. Jumpluff, mother. Look, I know that ever since Whimsicott came out, she's not really being used in battles a lot, but let's be real, they still can't compare to the look. She still has the face, she still has the body, she still has the concept. Sunkern is okay. I think it's really cute, but its whole existence is just to be cute until you get Sunflora, which I also think is okay. Now, Sunflora is a flower. It's really goofy, it's really funny and cute, but it just fizzles a little bit for some reason, and I just can't really place it. We talked about this in the psychic video. I'll just mention it again for the people who are showing up for the grass type video, maybe for the first time, or maybe you didn't see the psychic video. Please check it out, thank you. I've been making Pokemon content for maybe 2 years at this point, almost 2 years. As I've researched and talked about these Pokemon over and over and over again, I really do think that the mythicals, some way, shape, or form, I don't think it was an intentional design, but the mythicals for some reason, cosmically, just feel like the Girlypop legendary. I know that my lighting just changed. I had to turn it back on. I didn't notice that my lighting was like that. They feel like the Girlypop legendary. Like, just look at it. Since Mew debuted, look at all of the mythicals that have come out since. They're so Girlypop. It's like, sure, the box legendaries and stuff, we're going to get it for our collection. And some of them are actually really cute. But the mythicals, every single time, it's like they were made for us. Celebi's mother, Treecko. Oh, okay. Okay, so now we're finally getting to a point where it stops being girly pop. Maybe generation 1 and 2 were just like really girly pop for the grass type, and then they started exploring new avenues. Treecko is a fun Pokemon, let's be real, but I think Treecko itself is like looks around, and then Grovyle was like skip. And then Mega Sceptile, I just don't. Considering the fact that we already had Bulbasaur and Chikorita, there's just really no room for you to like not be giving a full-on serve, so that's also a skip. Right, so Editor Fawn here, I really just can't sit idly by and watch this clown on my screen give Mega Sceptile a skip. I mean, upon closer look, this is such a moment, this is such a pose. It has the makeup, it has the accessories, it has the fascinators, it's telling a story, it enhances this Pokemon. And for a Pokemon that admittedly starts out cute and then sort of just evolves into something that's a little bit too chic and fierce for its environment and context, because Hoenn is just like more of like a cutesy moment, and I think I'm very saturated in how cutesy the grass type started out. We have to give flowers to what Sceptile is serving here. It's just an amazing look. Now Lotad. Lotad is giving us something unique. It's not necessarily exploring a feminine concept by any means, but it's still giving us something unique, and already the grass typing starts off with a bang. Like they said, gowns, glitter, girly pop. There's really not a lot of room by generation, what is this, 3, to like be girly again. But for some reason, I think that the color scheme of this evolution line, the way that they kind of rely on comedy, there's something to it, so I want to say that it's okay. It's definitely okay. And I can't remember where I placed Ludicolo in the water type video, but something about Ludicolo just resonates. Seedot is okay. I could see Seedot be sort of an accessory to a team. Like maybe you could, and a Lowland Exeggutor with a Seedot as well as a Sunkern. Blossom is sitting under the shade, and Jumpluff is just kind of like floating around. Like you see that tableau already. I can definitely see that. Now, it starts evolving into scary territory. My boyfriend agrees with me on this. I just think that this Pokemon turns out to be quite frightening looking, so that's a skip. And when I say I'm skipping a Pokemon, you guys please understand, I'm not saying that this Pokemon is a bad Pokemon or an ugly Pokemon or deserves to be ridiculed. I'm saying that they're not giving what needs to be gave in this category. You know, if we were talking about like spookiness for the grass typing, I feel like the Seedot line would have something different because it's telling a story that's a little bit different. Shroomish is a looks around. He's got those little feet and he's kind of like funny looking, but that's really where it ends. And Breloom is okay. Let me stop and talk about Breloom real quick, as if I haven't stopped and talked about every single Pokemon that has come up on the grass typing, because there's a lot to talk about. As a content creator, from the outside looking in, when I started making Pokemon videos and like really just trying to be authentic about my opinions about Pokemon, I was not aware that so many people would want to chime in and actually like get where I'm coming from, right? So ever since that, I've been able to like really observe other girly pop connoisseurs in the Pokemon fandom. And I've noticed that sometimes Pokemon's shift. Because girly pops are not static. Like we don't look at like a number. We don't look at their move set or anything like that. We consider all aspects. And then when a new generation comes out, or when a spin-off game comes out, or when the narrative gets more horizontal, everything shifts because the context has changed. Breloom, for some reason, goes up and down between girly pop and okay. And right now it's an okay. I think and that's really as far as I can go with that thought process. Budew is a little cutie patootie. I think that this is one of the best baby Pokemon in my opinion. I'm so glad that they added it. I think it's really unique because it quite plainly tells the story. I think about like Happiny or Igglybuff and how I kind of like rag on them because I feel like they just made them smaller and rounder of the second evolution in the tree. However, Budew actually tells the story of a Pokemon blooming into her realness, her authenticity. Budew is girly pop. Roselia, I want to say is girly pop, but let's be real. Roselia still has the ability to keep her own identity, even though her evolution tree has been built around her. She's definitely mother, and Roserade is also mother. I just think that this whole storyline is so gorgeous. Since I try to do this chronologically, and I think about each typing in a chronological order as best as I can, she really was out here walking so some of the others could run, huh? Y'all know who I'm talking about. Now, Cacturn has a lot of manly pop potential. When I'm looking at who it would be up against, it's not a skip. It's definitely not a skip, but it's not okay either. That's just a looks around. I do love Cacturn. I do love Cacturn, but if I'm trying to put myself in the situation of like, if I were to build a strictly girly pop team, I would not consider Cacturn at all. Lileep and Cradily are also an evolution tree that I personally don't have the taste for, but the girly pops out here, people who like really can resonate with me and like match my level, they're like, Cradily and Lileep are one of those girls. Like for real, I never really consider them, and I generally don't really ever consider fossil type Pokemon, and that's just sort of where like my personal tastes intersect with this discussion. But the people who do sort of entertain fossil type Pokemon definitely all can agree that the Cradily Lileep line is girly pop. It is. Tropius, I think we all love. Tropius is like our ally, almost our girly pop ally. We all want Tropius to have their moment. Well, like, why isn't Game Freak giving them their moment? Like, you could do a lot with Tropius, but right now, it's flopped. It's flopped. It's a skip. Like, we love it, but it's a skip. I think Turtwig was a nice answer to the failures of Treecko. I'm gonna say that Turtwig is okay. Its second evolution is a skip. I don't like it. The final evolution is actually kind of difficult for me. I'm really having to think about this. I guess it's a looks around because I want to say that it's a skip, right? But because I'm hesitant to put it in a category where it doesn't even get any consideration at all whatsoever, it's a looks around. I'm like, okay, in its different forms, does it retain its typing? Because I know Burmy is a bug type. Bug, grass, bug. Okay, it retains the bug typing. I knew it retained something. So Wormadam actually is like one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. I think that it's giving weird and strange, but I can't say that it's girly pop because I know that a lot of girly pop connoisseurs, I know from the reaction on the YouTube and I know from the reaction on the TikTok, there are people out there who see my videos and immediately know what I'm talking about. Hit it! We can't come to a consensus that it's a girly pop Pokemon. We can come to a consensus that it's an interesting Pokemon. Girly pop trainers do find it interesting, but she's not a girly pop. That's okay. Now the Cherubi line, the Sharam line, this one, like, way to make the honey mechanic really like make a statement, right? This is one of the most fun and creative Pokemon of all time. And I love Sharam so much that even though it's shiny, it's just like, it's shiny in its sort of bloomed form, is just a more pale version. It's so inconsequential. I still go out of my way to get it. I do want to say that Cherubi is girly pop, and then like its closed form stays girly pop. That beautiful tone of purple mixed with the green and like the deep pink, it's so lovely, but she really shows her true colors when she becomes her mother form. That's what I'm calling this form of Sharam, mother form Sharam. Carnivine, that's the name, Carnivine. I feel as though in video games and in like sort of nerd culture in general, we don't have the space as people who have different tastes to express ourselves. And I think that's why we have so much fun with this video series, is that like, even if you don't necessarily like girly pop, because I've gotten people who have comments who are like, I don't really like girly pop like that, but I do like this conversation. Those are the people who like Carnivine. And it's because they like goofy pop. I don't want to go into what Goofy Pop is. I have my whole language that I speak about on my Discord and on probably this channel in the future. I really think that popology, girly popology is this sort of umbrella that exists within different aesthetics. Like, how do I say this? There's definitely horror, but not everything that is horror is spooky pop. So I'm saying all of this to say that I want to let the Carnivine girlies know, because I've heard you guys in my TikTok comments, like I remember it was like 4 months ago I was talking about Carnivine. I've heard you guys. I don't think that Carnivine is girly pop. It's a skip. But no, I saw that smile on his face right next to all of the skips here. No, it looks around. He's giving a little bit of comedy. He's being funny about it. I also just think that it's a lot of lost potential. I feel like maybe I would be more warm to Carnivine if they did something with it. But they kind of just like put it in the game and then forgot about it, just like Tropius. I think that the Ambisnow line is not girly pop at all. That's all just skipping. When we're considering more masculine aesthetics for girly pop, I feel like we always have to use Snorlax as a way to really gauge how it compares. Because in the normal type video, we were talking about Snorlax and how Snorlax has a presence, has a legacy, and a look that makes it viable for the girly pop aesthetic. And when we're talking about girly pop, I'm talking about not necessarily like fierceness, mama boots. I'm talking about like Sailor Moon type of like aesthetics. Dream Ball, Heel Ball. There's a sort of nuance of softness to it. Sometimes with comedy, you can create softness because there's a juxtaposition there. Sometimes you can just go full softness. Sometimes with color, you can do softness. Sometimes with silhouette, you can do softness. Victory Bell is giving aggression, but the fact that she is screaming at the top of her lungs gives a sense of comedy that juxtaposes to the point where you can't take it so seriously. Ambisnow is giving aggression and not giving anything else. It's just like, I don't want to put you on my team because I feel like you're going to stress my girls out. Leafeon is girly pop. I just feel like Leafeon and Glaceon had a lot of potential to go further, but they just never compared to Espeon and Umbreon. It's not their fault, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Lawnmower Rotom, especially in this context, girl, skip. Like, we're not putting you there. I love Rotom, but no, not with the ranking going the way it's going now. Here we go again with another mythical. What did I say? Shaymin doesn't necessarily compare to the likes of Celebi. Let's be real. Shaymin is really gorgeous and we all love Shaymin, but Celebi is just like legendary status. And if we have to consider it in comparison to the mythical that's already being placed here, it's just girly pop. It's girly pop. I want to say that Snivy looks around because there's a look in their eyes that's just like, I have a secret. And we didn't know where they were going with it. A lot of us didn't choose Snivy because of that. The second evolution, actually, for real, is one of the best second evolutions in my opinion. I think that it translates as to where it's going and it tells a really nice story without getting like ugly and gaudy. I'm gonna say that's okay. Superior is Mother. Superior not only has this look of regality, but the way that it flows is just so feminine and gorgeous. I think we all want to be superior. I hope that like when I'm reincarnated, I hope that my consciousness enters a Pokemon dimension and I get to like at least live one playthrough as a superior. But on top of that, Superior has a legendary cheesed coil battle in Pokemon Black and White before you get on that one bridge. That reminds me so much of Miltank's legacy, where it's like, you have to acknowledge me and I'm going to traumatize you to a point with this strategy that you will never forget this look. You will never forget this face. You will never forget this serve. Now this is interesting because I am actually a fan of the Pan Simi line. I don't really know why people don't like it. I do think that the baby one, I get them confused, Pan or Simi. The baby one is okay, but Simi Sage, I think that's what it is. Simi Sage is the only one that is not girly pop in my opinion. That's a skip. The Levani line, for the girls who know, this is gonna be our 1, 2, 3 countdown. So let's go ahead and do it. 1, 2, 3, Mother. And as I'm placing them, I do want to say like Sewaddle is like okay. And Swadloon is Girlypop. It's just really cute. But Leavanny is definitely the mother in this situation. I do think that this is a really interesting Pokemon, and I would like for anybody to chime in to tell me if there's any other Pokemon like this. But Leavanny tells a really nice narrative, and gosh, this is what I'm talking about. The grass type is so Girlypop because these Pokemon are out here telling stories with their evolution line. Sewaddle turns into Swadloon, and these Pokemon both have higher defensive and special defensive stats. As you can see with Swadloon, it's quite closed off. It's a little bit shy. It's like holding itself in. But in order for Swadloon to evolve into Leavanny, you have to have high friendship with it. You have to bond with it. So through bonding with Swadloon and evolving it into a Leavanny, Leavanny becomes this open Pokemon that's all about designing fashion with its talents and things like that. But what's also really cool about this is that the stats actually change. Swadloon's highest stat is defensive. Leavanny's highest stat boosts into attack. It becomes an extroverted, out and proud Pokemon, and I'm recording this during Pride Month, so that's mother. Cottonee is Girlypop, Whimsicott is mother. A lot of people ask me what my favorite typing is, or like what type of trainer I would be. I used to think that I would be like a fairy type trainer, but as I've made more and more content, I'm realizing that I have an affinity for the grass typing because, like I said before, my favorite Pokemon is Shiny Jumpluff. My second favorite Pokemon, Whimsicott. I'm not even making that up. It's literally Whimsicott. Petilil is a cutie pie. That is definitely Girlypop. Lilligant is Girlypop. And I think Lilligant, because of her personality, I mean, look at what she's competing with. By the time Generation 5 comes out, she's competing with a lot. There's a lot of showgirls. Victory Bell is still screaming, babe. Lilligant kind of has the potential to be mother, but she didn't really have the chance to shine, I think. And like, as the Pokemon franchise aged, she never had a chance to shine until Generation 8. She said, you know what? I'm going to fight fire with fire, or rather, I'm going to fight grass with grass. I'm doing Hisuian form, and it's going to be the loudest, craziest, most dynamic, and iconic Pokemon of the generation. Mother.
What you been told, but every time you spin, bitch, you lose control. And every time you dip, girl, you break your back. Cut, you're supposed to be soft with that. I wanna see a bitch let it all out. Bring it back on a count of 3. 1 for the ready, 2 for the set. DJ, drop the beat. I don't know what it is, but every time I see the bitch.
Maragdus is Girlypop. I want to tell her that she's mother, but she's just not there yet. I feel like Maragdus is primed for some love in Generation 10. Maybe we'll get a mega form in Pokemon Legends. Maybe we're going to get like a baby form in Generation 10 and Evolution. It's like, there's so much to work with there, and she's so cute, and I think we all love her. I do want to take some accountability now because this series is starting to pick up a little bit, and we're getting a lot of really great discussion. Some people were really right about how I was treating Deerling. I was splitting hairs way too much about Deerling. So I'm going to do my best to place Deerling when we're considering it in a grass type context. I still think that Spring Deerling is mother, regardless of where she stands. I think the only Deerling that can go as low as okay is Winter Form Deerling. I just don't think that Summer Deerling is Girlypop. I'm gonna say that's okay, because like when I'm going for Deerling, right, it's like, which one am I going to turn it into? Which one am I going to use the most on my little teams that I make? Spring Deerling. I don't really go out of my way for winter or summer. However, the orange Deerling adds some nuance, a pop of orange, and especially here when we're looking at it, like you could make like a Bellossom, Gloom, Fall Deerling team. You see that color story that's being made with a Lilligant? Yeah. That's Girlypop. There's potential there. There's potential further than just being an accessory. Like, she could really make a pop of color. Sawsbuck, Winter Sawsbuck with the furry fuzzy boots. Oh, she's eating that up. She's eating that up. That's Girlypop. I think Spring Sawsbuck is kind of the same. I have to say that there's something about Fall Sawsbuck in the context of the grass typing that just falls a little bit flat for me. It's okay. It's okay. I was giving it flowers more in the normal typing, but in the grass typing, it's just not there. And then summer is kind of the same. Yeah. Now, this is what I was mentioning this with Breloom, and I love when I mention something and then I get immediate ethos behind it. Among Us. Literally, I can guarantee you, if anybody wants to like really comb through the thousands of videos that I've made on the internet at this point, you can find a comment of people ragging on Among Us last year. But things have changed. And Girlypops, we're not a static type of person. We love context. We love to see things shifting and changing. That's an ally. That's an ally. That's mother. What she did is mother. Like, that's mother right there. Among Us is mother now. She's in mother territory because the legacy outweighs the aesthetic. The legacy outweighs the aesthetic. And let's be real, she is giving a little bit of a funny aesthetic. It's not the most, femme, girly pop, yes, glitter, glitter, glitter moment, but sometimes representation is what matters. Now, I will say the paradox form, I'm not into it. That's skip. Ferroseed and Ferrothorn. Also skips for me. These are skips as well for me. They're just not it for me. Virizion. That's Girlypop. Look at the silhouette. Ooh, right next to the Sawsbuck too. Y'all saw how she did that to Sawsbuck? I know they're mad about that. They're in the same league, but like, yeah. She showed up and said, be mindful of who I am. And now Chespin, the whole Chespin line, I do think that Chespin is okay. I think that the second evolution, the shiny is actually really, really cool. Looks around. Chestnut is also looks around. There's something about him that gives himbo, and maybe that's my weakness, but I love himbo representation in any sort of video game. I think Skiddo is also looks around. They're starting to turn Skiddo into like a Zubat. Generation 9, like I was sick of seeing Skiddo. And then its evolution, Gogoat. I do recall, wasn't it the Generation 6 Grass type gym leader, Ramos? I think that he's so iconic. The way that he handles Grass type Pokemon really gives me trepidation, but I have to say that it looks around. I have to, because Gogoat, other than Ramos's representation, Gogoat has nothing else going for it. Phantom. This is unique. This is how you break the mold. What are we in? Generation 6 by now? Or is this Generation 7? I think this is 6. Yeah, this is Generation 6. By now, it's like, what can we do? What can we do? I think Phantom noticed what Tangela was doing. And she said, okay, if I gotta debut, I gotta do this right. Where's my in? Let's get spooky. Let's get really scary. I think that Phantom is mother. Trevenant? Skip. I was gonna say that Trevenant was looks around, but then we had another spooky grass type coming right after, and that's Pumpkaboo, mother. Gourgeist, Girlypop. Yeah. If we didn't have Pumpkaboo and Gourgeist and Phantom, this trio that is really solidifying how to do a spooky grass type Girlypop moment, Trevenant might have been placed somewhere else, but because it's like existing in direct comparison to them, it's like, girl, you're not Girlypop. Rowlet, I think, is Girlypop. Rowlet is adorable, and I think Dartrix is also a really amazing second evolution. I'll say that that's okay. Now, Decidueye, I have my qualms with Decidueye. I don't really like Decidueye, but Decidueye, of all of the starters that I maybe have like ranked low, has a lot of Girlypops that are chiming in saying that I might be overlooking its potential. Because of that, I'm going to say it's okay. Now, the Hisuian form, I'm still very hard pressed, especially in the grass type context, to give it consideration. I'm looking at Gogoat, right? I'm looking at Snivy. If I'm willing to put Decidueye in okay, Snivy deserves to be in okay. That's one amendment that I will make right now. Therefore, I've now created space for Hisuian Decidueye to be in looks around. Can we agree to that? Please weigh in, because regardless, I'm getting my engagement, baby, and I got bills to pay. Now, Fomantis. Another example of how you break the mold in a very, very saturated Girlypop typing. Fomantis itself is going to be okay for me. It's got the coloring, but it really doesn't have a lot of personality until it turns into Lurantis. Lurantis' mother, not only is she giving fashion, she's giving pants, she's giving pattern, but she's also referencing a gorgeous real life biological moment, and she goes even further. The trivia of it, the lore of it goes even further into the concept. And if there's one thing all of us Girlypops can agree to, is that you need to know your references. What are your references? Lurantis, she's got a binder full of them. The Moralo Shinodic line, I feel like is my Decidueye, because I don't understand why y'all are not giving her flowers. This is a Girlypop line. It's giving spooky, spooky witch, and you have to give credit where credit is due. By now, the grass typing is so saturated with Girlypops. I mean, this is a quite thin looks around and skip. Look at how many mothers we have, and we still have more Pokemon to talk about. But how many times can you do mushrooms and flowers and pollen and grass? At least this mushroom is something different. It's giving bioluminescence. It could really complement like a real cerebral, like esoteric moment. I think that these Pokemon need to be considered. Okay. So, the whole line. I didn't even say their name, and y'all know, y'all skipped to this one. Hi to the people who skipped. I know that the Serena fans are here. That's fine. I just like calling you out because it kind of breaks the fourth wall and it's funny for me. Okay. Let's say it together, okay? 1, 2, 3, mother. Steenie, 1, 2, 3, mother. And Serena, 1, 2, 3, mother. Now, Miss Mangosteen, I honestly don't really go out of my way for Serena like that, but you cannot deny her impact. Like, Generation 7, in my opinion, is like Generation 3. I think like 1, 3, and 7 all have fandoms now that have matured enough to engage in discourse, but we were young enough to experience those games and like sort of create a bond with it. And I think Serena is the most ham-fisted Girlypop representation. I mean, like, Generation 1, we had Jigglypuff, right? Generation 3, like, we had the likes of like Skitty and things like that. Serena said, okay, y'all want the Girlypop representation of the generation, I've got it for you. Like, you have to give flowers to that. Now, Delmise. Somebody said that I pronounced Delmise like Denise. I don't really know how to pronounce it the right way. I know that there's many Pokemon that I've talked about and y'all are like, that's not how it sounds. Girl, I'm literally talking about Girlypop Pokemon. I don't know what part of the English language you thought that I had perfect. Delmise, Miss Denise. I think in the Girlypop category, definitely in Spooky Pop, she's giving the serve that she needs to. But in the Girlypop category, that's a looks around for me. I don't think that she's really giving grass type girly. She's giving spooky. Tapu Bulu is for the... I'm sorry if I like make anybody uncomfortable by saying this, but this is the Butch Queen. Tapu Bulu is the Butch Queen. He's the Butch Queen. He's Girlypop. Now, Miss Origami, that's Skip. I was so excited about her in Generation 7, and then they just turned it into a Zubat. And I just get irritated when they make Pokemon like the new form of the Zubat. I'm talking about like the Pokemon that just won't stop spawning. Like, leave me alone. Please leave me alone. Like, give me something to miss. Give me something to appreciate. The Grookey line is not bad. I think it's one of the most recognizable starter lines, and especially at Generation 8, you have to give it credit where credit is due. Like, it takes a lot to really stand out by Generation 8. I just don't think that this is Girlypop. I do think Grookey is okay. I think pretty much all of the Generation 8 starters we were all quite receptive to. I think Thwackey is also quite cute. I think Thwackey, especially for like the bipedal Pokemon, because I know a lot of people don't like to see bipedal Pokemon, the starters becoming these like bipedal, almost like Tony the Tiger type sort of cereal box mascots. With all that in consideration, I do think that Thwackey is giving something that's also okay. Rillaboom is looks around. I mean, like, I have the space for the Butch Queens, but I just don't think Rillaboom's giving Butch Queen. And its Gigantamax is, it's giving concept, you know. I could see like I don't know. I was going to say I could see like a musical like based team on it, but there's just other Pokemon to work with. That's also looks around for me. I do think that Gossifleur and Eldegoss tried to do what Jumpluff and Whimsicott did. And I mean, you saw what Phantom did and Pumpkaboo did. At this point, you have to give us something, and they stayed too close to the sort of cotton Pokemon thing, and I think because of that, they don't really compete. That being said, Jumpluff and Whimsicott are both in Mother, so I am going to give them Girlypop. I do know when we're like thinking about the context of where they exist, a lot of the Pokemon Unite girlies, I don't play Pokemon Unite that much. I've played a few games, but I don't play it too much. I know that they are like one of the Girlypop picks for Pokemon Unite, and I have to like give credit where that is, but I just don't think that it's Mother. I do think that Applin is Mother. Like, this is one of the most iconic Pokemon, and they say when you're trying to create marketable characters for like capital products, you want to create things that you can make plushies out of, that you can make t-shirts out of, something that's easily replicable. I think that it's so genius, and also it's like, duh, why didn't we think about that? I think it's so crazy that it took them 8 generations to do like an apple Pokemon. Like, it's gonna work so well. Not only does it have the connotation of being like sweet, but there's just so many things that you can do with it because it's got this round shape. And honestly, they've explored Applin so much. Like, you could tell that Applin was designed to be the girl that was going to be selling merchandise. And I gotta give my flowers where they are. I've got to give my flowers. Now, the skinny weird one, I'm gonna say that's a skip. I think all of us kind of don't really vibe with that. I'm sure some of you do, and that's fine, but for the most part, I think the majority just don't really think about that as Girlypop. I do think that Appleton is Mother. The Gigantamax form, I don't know, especially after the likes of Hydrapple coming, I'm gonna say that it's okay. Now, Diplin, I don't think that Diplin compares to Applin. And I do think that by the time Diplin came out, we were a little bit exhausted and saturated with all of the Applin hype. So I'm going to say that that's okay as well. Hydrapple also goes into a territory that isn't Girlypop anymore. This is a fascinating Pokemon, and I do love how it debuted in Generation 9. I love a lot of the stuff that goes on with Hydrapple, but I don't think that it's Girlypop. I don't even think that it's like as okay as Diplin. That's a looks around. I literally had to look this one up because I don't remember this one. Generation 8 in the Isle of Armor, Zaruda. Did I catch this? I don't even remember catching this. That's a skip. I don't like that Pokemon. Now, Calyrex is really hilarious to me. I just think that it's so funny that it has that big old head and it's floating around. And then it like sits on a horse and like runs around on a horse, and it's just, I don't know, it's just so like random and unhinged to me. I'm gonna say that that's okay. Like, that's just, they're like funny. I know that they're not supposed to be funny. I know they're supposed to be like mystical and esoteric and mysterious, but it just is so funny to me, especially like its skinny little legs dangling. I think that that's so cute. Now, Sprigatito, Girlypop. The second evolution, that's okay. And then Meowscarada, I know a lot of people don't like the fact that Meowscarada is one of those bipedal Pokemon, but I think that its animations, its signature move, and the way that they took the time to create its silhouette and the way that it stands and poses is really fun. That's Girlypop. Just like with the normal typing, I think that Smoliv is Girlypop, Dolliv peaked, and then Arboliva goes back down to Girlypop. It just makes sense. It really just makes sense to me because, like I said in the normal type video, Dolliv is the most Girlypop form of it. And even though Arboliva goes into Mother territory, the way that it plays and the way that it's represented in the universe is so like attenuated that it sort of like steps back and removes itself from the spotlight. Literally in how it plays, it's like that. Here's another copier that doesn't really land, but it kind of just goes even worse. I feel like Phantump and Pumpkaboo got copied by Bramblegast, and it just doesn't really translate in a Girlypop setting. I'm gonna say skip. And don't get me wrong, I have a shiny version of this, and I think that this Pokemon is really fun to play with. It's not Girlypop. Toadschool. Oh, this is actually so meta. This is so meta because the water typing and the grass typing are always in conflict. Like, the girls can't agree. Is the water typing the Girlypop typing? Is the grass typing the Girlypop typing? And then Toadschool said, what if I just give you both? What if I give you one type that's water and one type that's grass? Yeah. That's Girlypop. And I want to say that Toad's Cruel is another Butch Queen, Girlypop, yeah. So Capsicid kind of tricked us. Capsicid is okay, and then Scovillain, why did they design it like that? I just feel like there's parts of it that just don't make sense. Like, why did you do that? Skip. Wo-Chien is one of my favorite Pokemon. I think all the Ruinous Pokemon did not get their chance to shine. I have to ask Game Freak, why would you put them in the game at all whatsoever if it seems as though you didn't have enough time to give them a storyline or a plot point? Because these are some of the most fascinating Pokemon, legendaries, mythicals. I don't really know where they sort of are categorized, but they have the thinnest amount of lore. Like, not even like, is there a movie? Is there like any representation in the anime? What's going on? In terms of Girlypop, it doesn't really compare, but I do want to give it its flowers. I am going to say that it's a skip though. I don't know what it is about Iron Leaves when I'm thinking of it in the grass type context, but it's not giving what the other grass girlies are giving. It's okay. I think Sinistcha, the whole line is Girlypop. I kind of was a little bit, I can't give it Mother, because there are aspects of it that kind of underwhelm me, but it is Girlypop. It's a fun Pokemon, it's a cute Pokemon, and it uses that little, the brush thingy as like a wig. That's just so camp to me. Ogerpon is still Girlypop. Like, pretty much all the forms of Ogerpon give Girlypop. It's just got the sparkly eyes. It kind of reminds me of like an anime character or like a Japanese idol, things like that. I will say though, because I said this in the last time I talked about Ogerpon, it's a new Pokemon and the context can change quite quickly, and I am quite harsh on legendaries. I'm not gonna just like say that it's always gonna be Girlypop. This could easily be replaced in like a year. Thank you all so much for watching. I am trying my best to get as many of these recorded and edited and posted as soon as I can, because I really appreciate that you guys are giving me so much of your energy and so much of your time, and I'm trying to work super hard to sort of give that back to you. Please make sure to leave any suggestions for other games as well as other typings for me to cover. I'm going to focus right now on Pokemon typings, but I am looking towards the future and I want to keep doing this. I feel like this is a really great vehicle for me to express myself and introduce myself to this platform. And that's it. Whatever you guys are up to, I hope it goes by super well, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!